Good evening once again, race fans. Welcome to Sunday Night Skippy Season 8 action here from Virtual Road America. I'm joined tonight by Peter Lee in the booth for the Skippy Formula 2 race, which is currently underway, so let's not waste any time and let's get into it here. Peter, what can you tell us about what's been going on so far? I apologize. I could hear you, but I had you on mute for the stream right up until the end there. So Peter Lee giving us a great update on what was going on. Basically, good start. We're on the first lap. Jake Gaucher, Barry Stockdale with off tracks, and that's been the extent of it. You can see on the track map there, both Jake and Barry separated out. But other than that, it looks like we've got a pretty good group in here. And from what I was, I guess would anticipate and have heard discussed on the Discord throughout the week is that this is a very draft heavy track. Now, this is one of my favorites overall, but I like to race on it on things like Indy cars and GT3s and stuff. So, I think it made a lot of sense to me when people were talking about the draft here in the Skippy. And as you can see here, Rusty Punberg trying to take full advantage of that. Yep, and as if we've said it once, we've said it 100 times. This car just kind of punches a huge old hole into the air there for cars behind you. Although, I'm kind of surprised to see the amount of separation we're already seeing throughout the field relative to the draft that we've just been talking up for the past 5 minutes. So I guess that's good as Dave Pickram takes the lead back. We've got some other good, so Chris Daniel and Ian, who will be joining us for the next broadcast for Skippy Formula 1. He's in there this evening. You can see him kind of holding down the tail end, the caboose of that front pack. And then, of course, there's Nate Struhls, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but he is new-ish to the league. That's not a name. I've been out for a while, so, I guess elephant in the room. Yeah. Okay, excellent. So welcome, Nate. Obviously, I've been out for quite a bit. Really appreciate you and Pim and all the others who have really just held down the fort and kind of taken the broadcast, really to the next level. So sorry for the step back to all the viewers out there, but it was good. It was needed. I appreciate that people cared enough about not just the league, but the Cav broadcast to step up, and you were a huge part of that. And we'll talk more about the stuff like the app later, but at any rate, right now we're looking at Kyle McCormick, Carter Stickney, Dan Pegowski, and Richard Buller having a great battle. Who's to say that this fight for P7 isn't just as exciting as that battle for the lead? 100%. When it comes to race time, you see a car and you've got to run on them. It's hard not to take it. It's hard to have that discipline and that patience to understand that what you're experiencing is the effect of aerodynamics. You didn't just gain 10 horsepower all of a sudden, unless you're again running IndyCar and you've got push to pass or you've got DRS in Formula One or something like that. It's just a different style of racing, and you've started to get into a little bit of oval, obviously calling the bonfire racing leagues on Sundays and all that. This is very reminiscent. There's a lot of the same dynamics at play here with pack racing and just staying in a line as you would get at like a Talladega or Daytona, one of the what they would call a super speedway. So there's a lot of crossover, and there you go. This is sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Team Wonka. I was trying. Who is Wonka? Oh, Rusty. So go Team Wonka. Him checking in. Oh, we've got contact way in the back. That's Kyle McCormick. Oh, and multiple people. Carter Stickney, Dan Pagowski. There, yeah. Yeah, not a lot. Oh, and yeah, just kind of looked like Kyle McCormick. You could see him smoke the tires there a little bit. Carter just did not anticipate that, and yeah, and then that's what happens there. So unfortunate break for all those guys. We saw Nicholas Mazza earlier. I thought that may have been the beginning of the crash, but I was wrong. But you saw Mazza now also down pit road. So that's going to leave this front pack here. I mean, we're starting to kind of, word I'm looking for, spread out. We're not at a war of attrition just yet, but that's kind of what this will ultimately become, because as we've been talking about, having that draft pack is just so important. So, you get caught up, you get caught out, and it's really hard to just catch up on pace alone unless you're some of our really faster guys, which we'll tip our hats to those who are able to do that, because I'm sure we'll see some examples here tonight, both in SF2 and SF1. Yeah. And I'm embarrassed to admit I don't know what turn that is. I'm very familiar with it from racing it, but there's that long straightaway, and then it's a hard braking zone into that left 90-degree turn, and that seems to be giving the drive. That's where basically everything we've seen happen tonight. Right. Well, right now we got a couple fans of Resta Ponberg, who is leading the race here and holding his own, doing really well. Team Wonka just kind of leading the train here. We'll see, if these guys we were talking about earlier just working together and trying to create some separation. We do, for the people who may be watching for one of the first times, especially SF2, they do 2 pit stops through the race. So there's a lot of, and there we go, as almost on cue, Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell, Nate Struhls go down pit road to make the first of their 2 pit stops. There's a lot of time to be gained or lost doing that. So creating gaps can only help you. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but it's even more especially so at races like this with this configuration. Yeah, that's about as good a case scenario as you can hope for. Where, so again, if people are watching who are not as familiar, a fast repair, something that's available to us in iRacing, and we do opt to give that option to the drivers, where basically you still have to come down pit road. It's not a button you can just hit. You got to get down into your pit, but your car is magically healed, and you know, if you're in a pit window anyway, you're going to lose that time, obviously, from the incident itself, but it really stops the bleeding in terms of the time lost overall from incidents. Yeah, yeah. Well, certainly, and just so you know, we've got Kyle McCormick and Nicholas Mazza on screen battling for the last top 10 position. These two involved in early incidents and trying to make the most of it. And once again, that turn, oh, they're going to touch wheels. And nope, this is a terrible TV angle. You can't see coming up over the crest there. You can see the start finish line / pit road is kind of uphill, and then you go down. But so right now, we're and Jake. So that's going to leave. So Barry Stockdale still out. He was involved in an early incident as well. Ian Worrell is going to be your leader, or at least well, I say that now. Dave Pickram making the pass here on the front stretch. So these two are your front runners of Skippies who have already pit. So we'll watch them come down the front stretch here and see where the other drivers come out. And you can see right up ahead of them, Chris Daniel had a really good pit time. Oh, these two are going to go side by side through turn one. That's a nice sweeping turn. Turn two is a little bit more of a hard right, so you got to brake a little bit more, and then you've got you want to get a huge run off this, because this straightaway here is just forever. So really benefits you, obviously, to get a good corner exit as always, but certainly the ones that lead onto those long straights are extra critical. But as we were talking about, this straightaway leads directly into, I guess, what we're going to call the corner of death for today. Ian making a very defensive move there to keep his spot from the number 2 of Dave Pickram, and it seems to have worked for now. So let's take a look at pit lane times. If I can bring those up. Lane time. So this is the total time on pit road, and you can see 1.4 seconds, nearly a second and a half faster for Chris Daniel, who is now your leader. That's the difference right there. Able to stretch that interval out to Rusty Pondberg. Now, I will say it's interesting because Rusty had actually a quicker time in the pit stall, so presumably took less fuel on board. Not by much, but, you know, Chris Daniel was able to really make up some time there on the pit entry and or exit. Mm-hmm. Well, and tell the folks at home, this is a timed race too, right? Which is I guess a touch unique, depending on what kind of racing your background is in. It certainly was for me, but there's a consideration in there for the fact that you can't just do the math on how many laps you have left necessarily. Well, I'm getting word that people can't hear you, even though I'm seeing the feedback on OBS is just fine. So we're just gonna troubleshoot here real quick as we're right along board with Ian. All of your great advice hopefully was not all for naught, but we'll see what I can do here. There we go. Yeah, so Peter's gonna keep talking. When you guys can hear him, let me know. I'm just gonna kind of reset some things. The OBS has a tendency sometimes to just kind of be goofy like that. So. That didn't work.
Are working with each other, and they are making up time to Rusty Pottenberg up ahead.
All right. Do another mic check. Let's see if the streamers can hear you now.
So this is Peter. I'm watching the battle for P3 with Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell, and Nate Struhls.
We got you. Yeah.
Great.
Sorry about that, Peter. Sorry about that, everybody. We had OBS does a thing where the settings won't save, so you got to go in and basically turn them off and turn it back on again. So that's what happens. Anyway, so now Peter had just some amazing insight, and I don't know that we'll be able to ever recapture that, but.
Well, I'm still watching this battle for P3. So there's a battle for P3, Ian Worrell, Dave Pickram, and Nate Struhls. And, if you're one of these three drivers, you're sort of, thinking about trying to work together, draft each other to catch up to Chris Daniel and Rusty Pottenberg, who are leading the race right now. And so here, coming down the hill here on this first straight, you see Dave Pickram going by Ian Worrell and getting that toe. And look at the gap that they're starting to make up to Rusty Pottenberg up ahead. And so, that leapfrogging is something they want to do at the same, while kind of suppressing the urge to kind of just battle each other and go slower that way.
Yeah, I mean so for those of you who couldn't hear Peter earlier, which is probably everybody, because that's how streams work, but what we were talking about was the fact that it's so tempting to get in that toe in that draft and have a run on the person in front of you and just have the discipline to not take advantage of that and just work together, for a future strategic payoff, which to your point is, catching the legs of Rusty Pottenberg and Chris Daniel, who are right now just kind of hanging out in their own little safe spaces there. Chris Daniel out by 1.6 seconds. Seems to be having a good time. And we'll ride on board with him for just a little bit.
What's going to be super interesting is in the next race, in the Skippy Formula One race, the top drivers, the top 8 or 12 drivers, they're probably all going to be having similar speed, and it's all going to come down to how they manage draft strategy. And it was sort of what you were saying earlier, Chris. It's kind of like racing at Talladega, and just showing that patience. It's not making mistakes, and then waiting until the end of the race to make your moves.
Well, Chris Daniel just set an absolute blistering lap times here. I've got the sectors up, and if your resolution's good enough, you can see the red dots on the track map to indicate where each sector begins and ends. We're in the first one right now. We'll keep that up so you can compare Chris Daniel to Rusty Pontenberg, and you can see Rusty just slowly kind of bleeding time to Chris Daniel in that second group. Just, I don't have the time up here, but it does look like they are just kind of inching closer and closer.
Yeah, I think they are. I think Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell, Nate Strules have caught into Rusty's draft now. And so we have a situation where we have Chris Daniel out in the lead in clear air, and then now this group of not one but four: Rusty Pontenberg, Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell, and Nate Strules. So
now we've got a draft pack. Oh, Chris Daniel really just hanging out that right rear there. Really trying to push it. I think he sees the same thing we see, in that they've got an absolute train of skippies there, and they've got one goal in mind, and that is to catch Chris Daniel. So 1.9 seconds, just shy of 2 seconds is the gap. Keep your eyes on that interval as we continue on.
And back there at turn 8, Ian took a look inside of Dave Pickram, and you can just see immediately that has caused both Dave and Ian to open up a gap to Rusty. They're still in this draft, but you wonder if they're going to look at that and then think better of it, because I think they have to be thinking about trying to catch Chris Daniel, who's about 2 seconds up ahead.
And honestly, I don't know, just on raw speed alone, you probably want whoever the fastest guy is out in front, dragging the train along. But at the same time, I don't know who that is out of this group. I mean, obviously, Rusty's got the pace tonight. He's put it on full display, so...
Well, these straights are... here they're coming in for pit stops. Yep. And so Rusty is now out on his own with Dave Pickram, Ian Worrell, Chris Daniel, Nate Strules all coming into the pits for their second and final refueling stops.
Love it. Love the different strategy call. You got to do something. Rusty was falling back from Chris Daniel, so he's got to come up with something different to do, and that's what these 2 pit stop races afford you, is basically just an opportunity to mix it up and try something different. See
this. You would think this would give all of these folks a chance to undercut Rusty, but we'll find out this next time around.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on the pit lane times there. Obviously, Christina gets a good...
Something is wrong with Dave Pickram. I wonder if Dave has a pit lane violation, because Ian, Chris, and Nate are out of the pits.
Yeah, he's chilling there. That's really the only thing, other than things we can't afford or can't account for. Like technical issues, stuff like that. That's a sinking feeling. Getting that black flag for speeding down pit road. Well, let's take a look here at number of pit stops, and you will see very clearly Rusty Pontenberg, Joe Zubo are the 2 who have not made their second pit stop yet, obviously out there in front of the race. Let's try and do something different. 21. Actually, let's look at gap here real quick, just because so I don't have to do mental math. 32 seconds now between Rusty and Chris Daniel. Or tires, yeah. Gray Barnikowski bringing up a
Oh,
good
yeah.
point. That's another thing that you can do. You know, I race in both oval and road. I tended to want to default to keeping the tires on because it would be silly not to take tires in oval most of the time. But then they enacted tire limits, and so then it became a no-brainer, where you can go into the iRacing config and just default to no tires.
Yeah, and the one of the flaws in the iRacing sim is that that default applies to all cars, and it looks like
Mhm.
Rusty is now in the pit lane. And so, whereas the thing that would be sensible is, for your NASCAR Cup cars, you might
Right.
want
Be able
one way,
to
maybe another
default
way.
to something different than the
Yeah.
Skippy. Right, yeah. Yeah, if only. Well, here we go. Rusty Punberg. We'll keep an eye on him. You can see him on the track map. Let's go back here to Chris Daniel, who's coming around the final turn.
And I would really expect an undercut here. In other words, there's usually an advantage with the folks that pit the lap earlier like this, but let's see how this pans out. And that would apply to not only Chris Daniel, but to Ian Worrell and Nate Struhls as well.
Yeah, Chris Daniel easily taking the lead. And as a matter of fact, look at that. Rusty's going to come out right in front of... Whoa! And then
Yep.
Nate just squirting by. Oh, and Nate's going to get squirrely.
Yeah, I think just that little loss of concentration in that kind of tight situation. But we did see the undercut in action there, for sure.
There you go. Well, instead of pit time, here's your pit lane time. 53 seconds for Pickram. So, yeah, I mean, that's a penalty and a fuel stop. So, right around 12 seconds there. Rich Butler, 9 seconds on the pit stop.
Wow.
Very different than the others. So we'll see.
That's impressive. And Dan Pogowski, no surprise, as the last car to enter the pits.
There you go. Well.
All right. Yeah. So the big winner in that sequence of pit stops really is Chris Daniel. He has lengthened his lead.
Yeah. Yep. Rusty tried some. It didn't work. And but he wasn't catching him there anyway. So I applaud the effort. And let's just see now, because you just never know. This is where things get interesting, because different people use different methods, right? Some people are able to just do the math in their head. Some people like to use apps. There's different types of apps that you can be running to show you how much fuel you need to the end. And we've seen it. If we've seen it once, we've seen it 100 times, where people run out of fuel. And to your point that you were making earlier, that people may or may not have been able to hear, this is a extremely long track, and so it is very difficult to or I guess I should say it's very easy to make that mistake of not filling up enough if this timed race goes longer than anticipated.
Well, what scares me is, I'm expecting, that in the first half of the race, I'll have the benefit of draft, and most cars will, because, everything's bunched up. You won't be burning so much fuel. And so if you're using an automatic fuel calculator, then it might get misled into how much fuel you're burning per lap. So, for me, I've decided to make a little bit of adjustment for tonight's race, just to add a little extra padding. But that means time in the pits, so it's really hard to know.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, of course, a lot of the top drivers are doing the math in their heads, and I can't really cope with that.
I mean, more power to them, but yeah.
Yep.
Well, we had a drag race there down the front stretch with Jake Ashe and Joe Zubo. This has become a battle. Jake rocking a great paint scheme, which I haven't seen before. Obviously, I've been out, like I said before, I've been out for a while, so this may not be new to you all, but new to me. Looking really, really nice, and he's able to make the pass on Joe Zubo and work his way back up to 6th spot after what I believe to be the first big off track of the evening. So really great for him to end up 6 spots up actually right now. Let's look at that. Let me pull that
Yeah.
up. Total gain and lost.
Yeah, Jake's really just held together. He had that right here, in fact, at this turn. He had that big off track on lap 1, but he's just buckled down, and he's been fast ever since, and has worked his way back up to P6.
Joe Zubo giving him a run for his money, not just on the track, but in the paint scheme department. And
Yep.
I know he's streaming right now, so go check out the Wild Drivers there. Number 11 having a great night himself, up 4 positions. So these two probably super happy with the way things are going.
What I'm seeing now is that it's looking like everyone is in clear air, that no one's in anyone's draft at the moment. Maybe Rusty is catching Ian's draft, but things finally, with just 3 minutes left in the race, have spread out a bit.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I feel like we blinked and the race is almost over, but there you go. Ian, I'll say, I don't know if Chris Daniels saving or what, but his gap or interval was over 6 seconds when he left pit road. It's now at 5.8, 5.7. Certainly Rusty's is closing to Ian. Interesting. Yeah, now it's climbing back up. So he's keeping it right around 6 seconds. I'm sure Chris is just thinking to himself, all right, I got to keep him around there. Oh, and we got the white flag out. You see Barney making the call for us there. So this will be the last lap.
Yep.
Which makes sense, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah, it does. If they had been maybe about 5 seconds faster to this point, then there'd be 2 laps to go, but they were just slow enough.
Just slow enough. We like the longer races for a lot of reasons. We get to watch the racing more, but we also get to see who gambled and took less fuel to your point, to save the time on pit road to make themselves competitive. But doesn't appear to be the case this evening. But 0.8 seconds now, the gap between Rusty and Ian. Rusty's got a real shot at this here. Ian, a veteran of the SF2 series, but nobody's immune to rear view driving.
Right.
Knowing that this is the closest race on the track, and it's his race to lose, I would say, his position to lose, and that's a lot of stress.
What's going to be important for Rusty here is, as they make this left and they come into the carousel, the exit of the carousel basically is the exit onto pretty much the second longest straight. It's not exactly a straight. There's a kink, actually a kink called the kink, coming out of here. But it's pretty much flat out if you hit it right in these skippies. And so the exit that they just had of the carousel gives the last best chance
and
to
you can
Rusty.
see the interval just kind of slowly crawling down, but not by any significant amount that's gonna make you think.
Looks like Ian did a great job there. And then the last sort of outbraking zone is right here in Canada Corner. And it looks like Ian is navigated it.
Ooh, cut it in half right there. Let's go. The race is on. Chris Daniel, by the way, round in the final corner. So Chris Daniel is your presumptive winner here tonight. Congratulations to him. But look at this. Oh, Rusty just puts it a little wide. No.
Yeah.
Oh, you hate to see it.
Yep. But that's another place where it's a little off camber, and if you have the draft the way Rusty had, you can get caught out so easily. I saw that happen numerous times, and you're just coming in there, 3-4 miles per hour faster than you're used to. And,
well, there you go. That's how it's going to go. That's going to let Nate Strules go by for the final podium position. Rich Buller's going to come into the top 5, up 4 spots. Jake Ashe up 6 spots into P6. Joe Zubo up 4 spots into P7. Kyle McCormick's going to finish exactly where he started there in 8th position. And Pickram going to bring it across the line in 9th. Probably not the night he was looking for, but, sometimes that's just how it goes. Nicholas, I don't know if you go by Nick. He's up 3 spots to 10th position going up the hill. And that's going to leave Dan Pagowski, Barry Stockdale, Carter Stickney, and looks like Craig Montgomery was in the session, but I don't know if he actually.
Right.
So.
Well, that was a fun race to watch, and you could just see all sorts of strategy there, and it basically gives me some hints about being careful in turn 5.
Yeah. That's always the benefit for the SF1 drivers, being able to watch this and see where people kind of get run into trouble, because not that history doesn't repeat itself, but it kind of does. So, all right, well, there's our results. We'll bring them up on the screen for here. Congratulations once again to Chris Daniel, dominant performance, winning by over 6 seconds over Ian Worrell, who gets a second place finish. Congratulations to Ian. He'll be joining us in the booth for SF1, so look forward to seeing what he has to say about that. Nate Strules gets the final podium position. Newcomer, really great showing for him. Rusty Ponberg with a heartbreaker there will finish P4. Rich Butler, Jake Ashe, Joe Zubo, Kyle McCormick, Dave Pickram, Nicholas Mazza, Dan Pagowski, Barry Stockdale, and Carter Stickney. Really well done by all the drivers. Always a blast to watch these guys go out and compete, and we really appreciate the fact that they continue to do it and let us watch. So anything else, Peter, before we let you go? I know you got a big race coming up here at Road America in just about a few minutes, so I guess turn 5 and fuel strategy. Anything else that you kind of took away? Or
no, I think I've been trying to take a break from skippies for this season, but with Road America, I don't know, I just love this track, and so I couldn't resist. So I'm going to jump right in.
Very good, man. Well, good luck tonight. We'll make sure to check in on you from time to time, and I guess we'll see you in a little bit. For everybody else, we're going to take a quick break, and I'll put this timer up once we get loaded up and I figure out how much time is left before we're going to fire up the SF1 stream. So stay tuned. Go get yourself a beverage of choice and settle in for some more Road America action with a much larger field, still the same great competition, and we will see you soon.
Awesome. That was fun. Ian, congrats.
Welcome back, race fans. We are in full swing here at Virtual Road America for the Skippy Formula One qualifying. Joining me this evening is Ian, who had a very nice show out there for Skippy Formula 2. Ian, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing really, really well. I'm sitting here with some rather nice little cheeses and a little bottle of Bordeaux, and I'm very relaxed right now to watch this race.
What else could you want other than some SNS Skippy Formula 1 action to watch? Man, this is going to be a great, nice, cool, mild fall evening here in Wisconsin. So let's get to it, man. This is a very long track, as we noticed in Skippy Formula 2. So all these drivers are not getting much of an opportunity to show off their stuff for qualifying. A lap, maybe two, potentially three. We'll see.
Yeah, you're not going to get an awful lot out of it because, as you say, the laps are so long. So it's pretty critical to get your warm-up done in your first lap. But what's nice, because it is so long, you really can get quite a lot of warm-up done. So your tires are reasonably sticky when you go to run your quali laps. So that's kind of cool. But it's an interesting track. I used to hate this track, but now I'm not ambivalent.
Okay, all right.
I
So
like
it's
it a bit
bumped
more.
up a notch at least.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, I used to think that this was just like a freaking nightmare track, long straights, stupid corners, and everybody drafting everybody. And I've sort of, I guess, figured it out a bit more now. And I found some parts of it are really fun and quite challenging. So, yeah, I do like it, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit for everybody. I know that we talked extensively about the draft, obviously, in the Skippy Formula 2 race and the importance of that. And so that's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, ultimately, most tracks in the Skippy are gonna be kind of drafty. So we'll see what happens. But looks
Very
like
true.
our qualifying is done. So while they go through the I guess the drivers meeting, let's look at what our grid is going to look like tonight. I believe we're going to be gridding 34 Skippies for tonight's race, and the first one is going to be Leo Charov, who got the pole with a 2:33.128, and just an incredibly fast time there. Chris Herrera starting on outside pole with he's a little over 2/10 slower than even Leo there. Obviously, the draft is going to be the great equalizer, but you can kind of see throughout the field just where everybody was. Now, that all being said, some of these drivers only got one lap in, so take all of these times with a grain of salt. I'm sure some of them kind of were happy with where they were at and decided not to, but we'll just take you through the field here and let you find your favorite driver and see where they're going to start.
And the other thing is, because this track is such a drafty track, even if once you can keep within, a second of the car in front of you, they can't lose you. I mean, they cannot lose you. You have to mess up on a corner for that draft to be broken for them to be able to lose you, because these lines are so straight. But what that does, which is different to a lot of the other tracks, is it means that drafting is not just, can I pull up behind this guy and pass him, but you have to use it as a strategic tool and manage how you draft all the way through the race.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got actually, I gotta look. What is the number of pit stops for our Skippy Formula 1 race? Probably know that going into it. But either way, again, draft being the great equalizer, but also not to be, a kind of an underdog story can happen because of the pit stops. That's not just because of the mistakes that can happen, but because you can take advantage of things like overcuts, undercuts. Obviously not to the extent, because we don't have quite the tire fall off that you would see in Formula 1 or IndyCar, or even NASCAR for that matter. So it's not quite the same thing, but there's still spots to be had. So let's go check it out and see what these drivers have in store for us tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's all going to be about staying in line, managing that draft, and choosing when you overtake the person. And the other thing is, because it's such a good drafty track, that if you're in a pack that's chasing, if you work together, you can catch the folks in front of you. But you have to work together.
And you got to work together. And that's something we talked about. I know you didn't hear us there in the broadcast with Peter, but and a lot of folks didn't hear Peter there for the first half of the race because I had a mistake. But, you know, one of the things we talked about was the fact that it is so tempting to have a run on a car and just take advantage of that. And, you know, there's a lot of discipline that goes into realizing that that's just an temporary aerodynamic advantage. And
well, here we go. Lights are up. Lights are going on. And away we go. Green, green, green. Let's see if they all make it through turn 1 properly.
You can see the downhill dynamics to that turn 1. A little bit of a sweeping corner we talked about. Turn 2, a little bit tighter. Still downhill, so the braking point's really important. And when you're driving just inches away from other vehicles, you got to make sure that you're given plenty of space, plenty of room, plenty of respect to the fact that they've got somebody in front of them, and so on.
Going out braking stuff as Chris Herrera climbs all over the back of Etchkin's rear end and passes him. To be honest with you, I don't think P1 is the best place to start on this. I think starting P2, slotting in behind P1 and just managing your race from that position is probably a far better place to be, because you can see normally by now, you know, Leo has started to pull out a wee bit of a gap, and there is no gap. I mean, everybody is just line abreast, or line astern, I should say.
There you go.
You know, line astern, following along. And I mean, you know, they just, once the guy in front of you doesn't make a mess of it, and you don't, you can stay like that, you know. Although, look, Leo and Chris, a little bit of a gap between them and Gherkin.
Yeah, still relatively close. You can see, and we got Rich Butler. Looks like something happened to him. He's going to be missing a front wing. His back end's a little out of sorts. Not exactly sure what happened there.
He crashed as well.
That's not dancing. I don't know, but, you know, it was interesting. I thought for sure maybe Leo's like, okay, we're going to give Chris the lead here. I'm going to just hang out and fuel save for a little bit. You know, there is an advantage to kind of being at the back end of some of these packs and just kind of chilling out.
Yeah.
But that is not the case. Leo wants to lead every single lap of this race, just like Chris does. So that'll keep it interesting and maybe keep it close. Although did he have to serve a penalty?
Well, don't forget, there is a Leo is in the pits. What's he doing?
Yeah, that's what interesting. I mean, I believe it's a 2-stop.
Did he have a drive-through?
But he must have
he's
had
going into his pit box. What could he be doing?
I don't know.
He can't be stopping this early for fuel. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense.
Well, at any rate, that's going to leave Gherkin Demir in the lead. Not Chris Herrera, but Gherkin's going to lead the pack, and we've got some...
And Leo's on his way back out now. So that's a very, very short stop.
Interesting. I don't know if he thinks that that's the strategy move, or if there's just something that we just completely missed, but... Either way, we're looking at Adam Wright and Peter Nodwell going side by side there with the 73. Everybody just kind of hanging on to one another. A lot of tight racing. You can see the intervals. I kept that up specifically just so everybody can see that everything's pretty much orange and yellow at this point. Only a few packs really breaking away. Some great racing back here. This is Sean Ross in the 14th position. And Jonathan Dockery and Aaron Law are just ahead of him. Jonathan Dockery with a spawn. Oh, Chris Herrera, is that him? What? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can't keep up. Chris Herrera's off. We got to see
he's
what
not in
happened
the lead
there.
pack anymore.
So he had passed Gherkin, and oh, and he just gets his tires. That's turn 5. That is the exact turn, I believe. I believe that was turn 5. Maybe not. Maybe that was turn 2.
He stood off and
Where
tapped the
they're at.
wall.
Oh, and we got a huge wreck. What is going on back here? Chris Herrera making his way through the smoke.
Good God!
Oh man, I
What
don't know.
happened there?
Oh man, let's try to wind that back. This is Kyle McCormick in the 27. He gets sideways, locks through. Oh, and doesn't quite lock the brakes there. He lets it off just a little bit. He's going to collect, and Chris Herrera's, who we were focused on, kind of gets the full view of that. I believe that was maybe Jeff Torbeck who got. No.
Yeah, I've got Jeff Torbeck jump back to the pits.
Oh,
And
just
Kyle McCormick as well.
no. Nowhere. Oh, boy.
Oh, that sucks. That is just devastating.
Not what you want to see there. Okay, well, let's reset here just a little bit, and we're taking a look at Benjamin Harris, Jason Berkheimer in the battle for 20th position. Benjamin Harris in the 521, Jason in the 313, and these guys, you can see Spencer Clark there, kind of looking on. Let's ride along on board with Spencer, trying to find where maybe he can make a move. But
And Michael McLeod is now in P1.
Michael McLeod's out in P1. Holy cow! So a lot of changes happening up front. A lot of changes.
Max Bottom's in P3, up 4 places.
There's Michael McLeod there
That's
leading
it's
the
not a
pack.
boring race, is it?
No. Let's take a look back at Michael McLeod's pass for front, and actually he and Gherkin had.
Michael McLeod loses it. Going into the carousel. And dropping back rapidly. Carl Drunky's just about to pass him.
Ooh, going around the carousel. That is tough to do side by side, but they made it work. He's not going to let Carl by. And he will find his place now at P7 after just leading the race. Max Giacomo going to look on the outside as they go down into Canada Corner here. This is a tough place to pass, but he's going to make the pass before the turn even comes. You can see these guys just driving to the very edge of what the skippies will do, man. They are, and what the track limits will allow. We'll say that as well. You can see them going really exploring the space as far as the track limits go, not getting those 1Xs. And word that JR Hoops has unfortunately crashed. Maybe we'll go back and look at that in a little bit. But look at this, 2x2. Hate to break away from this. Adam Wright is going to pull up right behind Gherkin. Gherkin going to slide in front of Max. Adam finds his spot in third, at least for the moment, as they make their way around turn 1, starting the 4th lap here.
Now, I was going to say right at the beginning, is this going to be again the Leo show? But it is so not. It's great.
It's not, but he just had a purple lap, so I mean, there's that. He literally just said it. I'm wondering how he's easily he's going to be able to. Oh boy, Gherkin and Max really. I don't know if that's side draft. Can you side draft in a Skippy? I don't even know if that was a thing, but
yeah, apparently there is a side draft. It's not as good, obviously, as a tin top, but it does work.
It does work. All right. Well, there you go.
So if you've got 2 people in front of you and you can side, one person beside you, one person in front of you, you're going to be going faster than the person beside you, who is also getting the same draft.
Well, it's so hard to figure out where to look because this battle for the lead is great, but we always want to make sure that we look through the field, however large. So here's Andrew Cole and he and Alan Paris here up 4 and 6 spots respectively, having a great race for the 17th, and Benjamin Harris is kind of locked in with them. They're trying to catch up to Steve Dewar, Rusty Ponberg. Rusty had a great race, heartbreaker of a finish there in Skippy Formula 2. He's up 4 spots right now, hoping to see what he can do with Dave Pickram also in the Skippy Formula 2 race. So we got a couple contenders right here. As I thought Rusty was going to look to the inside there, but it looks like he's still got a little bit of space before he's able to do that. A little further up, Aaron Law and Scott Bell are going to drag Jonathan Dockery and Sean Ross along here through Canada Corner. Lots going on, my friends.
And speaking of Scott Bell, any Scott Bell fans in the house tonight?
I have to imagine
not
Team Bell is in the house, but I'm sure this track is going to put Scott's motion rig to full use. What a fun track that would be. Here we go. Gurkan Demir looking to the outside there. Looks like he's going to pass for the moment Max Giacomo for the lead as they go across the start-finish line, but he's going to have the inside position going in turn 1. Oh, man, he cuts it right down there. Max going to let him in, and they'll slot out. Gurkan, Max, and Adam 1, 2, 3. Got Mike Bowers just behind him. Joshua Dancy, Carl Dronke, Michael McLeod, and Peter Nodwell. That's going to be your front group right now. And then we've got about 3 seconds back to Scott Bell, who we were just talking about a little bit earlier.
I wonder if Gurkan got slowed down or something. He pulled very far to the right and has lost 2 places.
Well, this turn 5 right here, they're making it work too wide, which is super impressive because we saw a lot of incidents happen there in Skippy Formula 2, and that is to be expected. A hard braking zone, a downhill braking zone after a long straightaway in a track that has very few passing opportunities. But look at that, Gurkan and Mike Bowers going side by side there. Great racing.
And it looks like Gurkan and Adam Wright are starting to make a little tiny gap. But again, little tiny gaps don't count. You've got to be more than a second. And right now they're 0.8. So if they can keep that up and they can drop Gurkan off the back of them, then he'll need to work with the folks around him to catch back up.
Unfortunate there for Andrew Cole, who had a little bit of rear contact there. I didn't see who that was, but got spun around there in turn 5, the corner of danger that we've been talking about this whole time. Carl Dronke's starting to try to work his way back up as he, I believe, did that just happen? Yeah, made his way past Mike Bowers, and he's going to be on Gurkan Demir's gearbox now. And just so you know, I don't know if you saw that, but looks like, oh yeah, there you go, you commented, all right. Oh, Gurkan getting sideways. Man, you drop a right rear or left rear or right rear depending on the turn on those corner exits.
Oh, immediately jumped on that.
Woo! And look at this race down into turn 1, man. These guys are hungry tonight.
Yeah. Again, there seems to be an awful lot of chatter going on in the system right now. But
yeah,
one of the things that I did mention when we did our little talk before the race was, if you are pitting in, please if someone's close behind you, please let them know, because you're coming off the racing line and crossing over the track to get into the pit entry, and it's right where someone might pull out and try and pass you.
We can see Dockery, Ross, Peter Lee, who we haven't talked about much, obviously joined us on the earlier part of the broadcast for Skippy Formula 2. So we'll check in with him again. He's out, and this is the first round of pit stops here. Obviously, the pit windows, I guess, per lap are a little bit smaller than we're used to just because of the large size of the track. But I think Peter and a few others are deciding to be the early ones. And, Peter, I guess, is fan of the undercut here. trying to make that work as Max Giacomo is now your new leader. Oh boy, and Adam and he are nose to tail with Carl
So
Drunky.
close. They are so close to each other. And the carousel, this carousel is an interesting little thing to go around. You're sort of balancing the car on the throttle, just trying to hold it onto its line as you come down here and you get into fifth gear right about there. And then you just dive for the inside and let the car float. And I mean, it's really weird because the car literally feels like it's floating across the track. You have no real traction at that point. And that's why you do see a lot of crashes at that corner. Big heavy braking zone here. Let the car drift wide. Dive back to the inside on the uphill. Tuck it in tightly. Hit that curb if you can. Let it ride out. And then this is another tricky corner. It's a closing corner. So it starts fairly wide and then tightens as you go into it. And here we go. People are diving for the pits. Adam Wright stays out. And all the other front runners dive straight into the pits. Hopefully they'll all get their brakes on soon enough that they won't get the speeding penalties. But we'll see. It is not an easy pit entry to stop yourself from getting a very quick speeding penalty.
What's up, him, man? We miss you. We're doing well, and there you go. Yeah, Adam Wright, Joshua Dancy, Michael McLeod, the only takers to stay out, I should say, as we continue on. Everybody else, you can see the pit road, the timing tower going absolutely bonkers, and the pit stop on the bottom of your screen can't keep up. Everybody diving into pit road. We'll see what happens with that. Ray bringing up a great point that I was about to that I'd kept an eye on, but Leo kind of making a charge to the field. He's gonna stop for his first and or second. I got to imagine technically his first, and we're gonna chalk that first pit stop up to some sort of penalty. But yeah, he's kind of doing well for himself right now, and there's still a lot of race left. So for the team, Adam and Michael and Joshua Dancy, we haven't talked about much here, but let's right along board with him. And
so we got some Chris fans in the chat.
Yeah, I mean,
they're all saying how nice it is to hear your dulcet tones again, mate.
I'm sure they're just being nice, but we do appreciate it. I said it on the Skippy Formula 2 broadcast, so I'll say it again, but real huge thanks to Pim especially, but also obviously people like Peter Yu, Jake Ashe, Joe Zubo, who in my time off, my brief absence, sabbatical if you will, have really just taken this whole broadcasting cavalcade, the stream, whatever you want to call it, to the next level. So I'm sure it feels like a little bit of a step back in time for me running the thing. So we'll try to get him back up in here as quickly as possible. I think he's quickly surpassed me as a producer. I don't know what running the cameras and the overlays and stuff, but certainly look forward to hanging out with you guys a little bit more on Sunday evenings moving forward. Well, there you go. There's your battle for the lead. All three leaders now are going to stop in. So there you go. Keep your eyes on them. Carl Dronke is now your leader, by the way, of the after my little soliloquy there. Carl Dronke is going to lead the pack around Canada Corner, and we will see where this group spits out your presumptive leaders, although who knows.
Carl actually passed everybody in the pits. He was the first person to finish fueling and head out.
Well, we'll take a look at the pit lane times here shortly, but he certainly had a couple seconds quicker than some folks, but not others, so really interesting. It's one of those things where, well, his pit lane time, I should say his pit time was not any different, but he really seemed to have maximized his time down pit road, which is that entry and exit speed. That's super important and super difficult to get right here. So there you go. You can see the front three now just passing Adam, Joshua, and Michael. Actually, Michael, sorry, is leading the pack there. I'll give him credit where it's due. So he's going to try to bridge Adam, Joshua, and Peter and Mike all the way up to this front group. So one pit stop down and not a ton of separation from this lead pack. We actually may have tightened things up here a little bit. So let's run down through the top 10 right now. We got Max Giacomo, Carl Dronke, Gurkin Demir, Michael McLeod, Adam Wright, and Crash Dancy, and Peter Nodwell going side by side. So that's going to change up there a little bit. But Mike Bowers and Scott Bell working his way into 9th with Sean Ross. These two are your 9th and 10th positions. You got about 4 seconds back to Steve Dewar. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and one more pit stop remains, so anything can happen, and we'll take a look at the drivers that are kind of out there on their own and versus the ones who are kind of in groups and see what they
Well, I
can
would
do.
like to just mention that Leo is working right now on the back of Jason Berkheimer and Spencer Clark, and is dragging himself ever closer to them, with a very close gap there.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I mean, these guys are they've all got their own, pace for days, so I'm sure Leo is happy to get this little bit of toe and kind of, it looks like we got shaken, he's on team shake and bake, so slingshot engage here, and
Yeah.
so working your way back up to...
And not only that, but he's doing 232 fives, as opposed to everybody else who's doing 233 threes and sixes, or the people who are around him 233 fours, 234 threes. So he is quite a bit faster than everybody else on the track as he goes almost 3 wide coming into the final bottom turn as they go approach the up-hander and passes both of them, picks up another 2 places up to P15 as he continues to slice and dice his way back up through the pack.
Now, like I said, Spencer and Jason, very good drivers, very fresh drivers in their own right, but I think if Leo has shown anything, he is a bit of an alien when it comes to making his way around a track. So, very smart. I think just kind of
What?
try
Dronke? Somebody want Carl Dronke?
Oh, Carl. Nope.
What happened to Carl? Is he pitted?
No, I'm still
No,
showing him
he's
running
still there.
inside.
I just saw him for some reason. My data was showing me him falling backwards
yes.
rapidly, and I was like, oh my god.
Maybe he blinked.
As Peter Nodwell sets the fastest lap of 2:32.442, which is pretty impressive.
There you go, Peter. Well done, man.
Dronke jumps into the lead. Now you were talking before about why was Leo so enthusiastic about taking the lead all the time. Well, that's because you get points for being in the lead,
Indeed.
right? So you want to get those extra points as often as you can. So you want to be in front as much as possible as Carl retakes the lead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping around there for the viewers at home just a little bit. I misclicked, but here we go. We got some... Ooh, Max just kind of bleeding spots there for just a little bit, but he's going to shut the door on McLeod, and they'll recycle through here. So Dronke now your leader with Gurkin, Max, and Michael, and then not too far back, your purple lap setter right now, Peter Nodwell's dragging Adam, Joshua, and Mike.
Steve Bell for the Bell folks is in P10, so he's in the top 10. Is young Steve.
Yeah, he and Sean Ross
That's
just kind of trading barbs for 9th and 10th there, and doing a really nice job. Hopefully they can work together, and these guys very fast. So, oh boy, Steve looking in the inside there. They're gonna hopefully be able to work their way up to that next group and reconnect, because you can see there's just not a ton of separation there throughout the field.
They can do it, but again, they do have to work together. And for those folks who don't really understand what we mean by work together, literally what Scott needs to do is draft up behind Sean and then pass him. And Sean needs to let him pass. Not slow down. Sean mustn't slow down, but Sean should allow Scott to pass him. Then Sean gets behind Scott and picks up the draft. And on the next straight, Sean passes Scott. And so what ends up happening is they actually exceed the highest speed limit that the Skippy can do, and slowly work their way by leapfrogging each other back up to that lead pack.
Well explained. Easy easy to talk about, difficult to actually accomplish, especially when you're not in radio communications with the driver that you're trying to work with. Some drivers are in Discord chats, audio chats with their teammates, but unfortunately you don't always have the pleasure of getting to choose who you have to work with in any particular point in the race. So these guys just got to trust each other and trust their judgment. We got a side-by-side lead, or battle for the lead here between Carl and Max DiGiacomo. I mean, just goes to show you the power of the draft here. Every time we look up here, it's somebody else up from this front four vying for that lead position. And just real quick, very nice, kind words from Sarah Bella there. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll continue to bring this to you in some form or fashion. And obviously, as things change, people may change a little bit, but I think hopefully most of my work here, big work that kept me from being able to do this on Sunday nights, is in the rearview mirror for a little bit.
It makes me feel really freaking old.
I think I may have just nostalgic. Exactly. Yeah. That's good. That's the implication there is
75 years old, and I've been doing this for 103 years.
But yeah, hopefully all the stuff is in the rearview mirror, at least for the most part. I think I may have just jinxed myself, but whatever. Here we go.
We're gonna have to come up with some of the classic lines like Murray used to have, when he was broadcasting F1, where he would say these things, and it would be like, wait, what? What did he say?
Right. I was
think about what he said. It's like, oh no.
I have a lot.
This is going to be a very interesting race. All Skippy Formula 2 races and Formula 1 races are very interesting, but this one will be particularly interesting because it's very interesting.
Well, yes.
Exactly.
Oh, we got contact. Gregor Klingman goes way off. That's Alan Paris that made contact. Oh, Leo. I'm getting word that Leo Charo.
He flies right off and both of them.
Oh, man, and that's Brian Perez. Oh, boy, we've got a lot to unpack here, ladies and gentlemen. Let us try to figure out what the heck happened. Here's Brian Perez. No, I don't believe that's it.
No, Leo crashed, but I mean...
Yeah, Leo...
Oh, he got hit! He got hit! Oh, and then he hit, then someone hit him. Oh. His car was still running, but I think he towed back to the pits. Oh my gosh. So Leo got hit by Gregor, I believe. Gregor Klingman hit Leo.
Yeah,
is that right?
He just kind of, yeah, so, well, it was Alan Paris. Ooh, whoa, what was, I don't know, what.
Oh, Alan Paris in the green and yellow DRSS car put a wheel off.
Unfortunately, Alan, yeah, he just dropped a wheel, got loose.
Oh.
That, nowhere for him to really go. But then I don't know what the heck happened. Leo trying to right the ship there. Finds Brian.
Oh dear. Well, that really puts paid to Leo's opportunity to climb his way back up to the front.
Yikes. I don't know.
And Scott Bell is now in 9th, Sarah. He's doing really well.
There you go. He passed Sean Ross once again. Yeah, he and Sean Ross just kind of going back and forth there. So that's going to take out quite a few people. Mundo. I don't even know what to say about any of that. But we'll...
tosses that whole top 20 on its head, because, I mean, now only the guys from P1 to P14 are really in any... And not even P14, P13 are really in any kind of contention for staying up there in the front. From P13 back, they're more than a kilometer behind the front runners. And so they're really sort of almost out of the thing. And I do see, who's that? That's DiGiacomo, and he is trailing Sparks. He's trailing Sparks. If you look at his car, I'm seeing, is it because his suspension is really low, maybe? I don't know. I was seeing some sparks coming out of his car. I was wondering if something's a bit bent, or if maybe he's just running very, very low suspension.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems to be alright from our angle, but we will keep an eye on that. Could be a different...
As he pulls out from behind Dronky and seems to draft back past him, coming up into T1 as he takes the inside line. Jumps in front of Carl. Cole will probably lift it a little bit, let him get in there. Takes that inside line, lets the car drift to the outside into P2. Little tap on the brakes. Drop a gear sometimes. Take it on the inside again. Throttle and then let it drift out.
So, checked in real quick there with Sean Ross. He's going to be, I believe, the first person to make the second pit stop as we took almost past 30 minutes of the 45-minute race. So clearly the pit window is open now, and we'll see where anybody decides to pit. But Sean Ross, who was battling there with Scott Bell for that last spot in the, well, I guess ninth position, he's going to lose his draft partner there with Scott Bell. So interesting to see where he ends up coming out. Aaron Law, Peter Lee, Dan Pagowski, all deciding to come down pit road here. You can see the top groups. We've got 2 groups of 4: Carl, Max, Gherkin, and Michael McLeod. And then we got Mike Bowers, Peter Nodwell, Adam Wright, and Joshua Dancy. And that's going to be kind of your top 8. Scott Bell now firmly in 9th spot, having lost his draft partner there, and Steve Dewar in 10th as he moves up 1 spot for Team Shake and Bake. Whew. I think I need a breather.
I know, it's been completely mad, hasn't it? As they're so close to each other as De Guacamo takes over first once more.
Yeah, these guys are not, line.
They're fighting for that point. You know, I want to be in first crossing that line. If I'm in first place crossing the line, then I get the point. You know, and I mean, it could be critical.
Well, we bring up the, see if I can bring it up here real quick. Oh, nope, that's SF2. Oh, we're covering the,
So we've got a lot of folks running into pit lane. De Guacamo, Dronke, McLeod, Bowers, Nodwell are all in pit lane, which lets Demur, Wright, and Dancy take over 1, 2, 3 as they come in for their second stop. Pagowski's only, according to my data, only had no stops. That can't be right.
Yeah.
That cannot be right.
Well, let's meet back over the Gherkin Demir, who's still in there. Adam Wright, Joshua Dancy, I showed pit on lap 7.
And Dronke's heading out already. So he's done. He's refueled. And so are Bowers and McLeod. They're all going to meet right at the pit exit. And De Guacamo loses a place to Mike Bowers. To Adam Wright. Adam's changed his paint scheme, so I'm calling him the wrong person. And Dancy's now in 3rd. So we've got Demure, Adam Wright, and Josh Dancy. So they're 1, 2, 3. But they've got a pit again, so they haven't stopped again. So we've got McLeod, Bowers, and De Guacamo in presumptive 1, 2, 3. As Dronke passes De Guacamo, so takes 3rd, what would be 3rd position. And then also passes Bowers. There we go.
Oh, man. Looked like he got a little unsilted there, Max did, but able to save it and slide right in there in front of Mike Bowers. But, yeah, so this is it, fellas, for their pit stops. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be an exciting race to the finish here because we've got still Gherkin, Adam, and Joshua Dancy all needing to stop and pit. I can't wait to see where they end up coming out. You can see them going around now the Canada corner. Got to imagine they're coming in this time.
Yeah, they such a long track. You've got to be so careful that you don't get caught out, 2/3 the way around. It's not like one of the shorter ones where you can kind of shake the car and make it to the pits to refuel and lose some time on the lap. Here, you will just be out of gas on the wrong side of the hill.
But guess what? Guess who stays out? Adam Wright, Joshua Dancy, going for a completely different strategy. I mean, as far as Road America goes, this is about as different of a strategy. And Joshua Dancy's going to go try to take the lead. Doesn't look like Adam's going to fight him too much on it, I'm sure.
You can't
probably
fight
happy
that.
to,
Yeah,
back in
you
the
can't
draft a
fight
little
it.
bit. Yeah.
So that promotes McLeod, Drunky, and Guacamo up into 3, 4, and 5 as they
Well, let's
pass the pits. And who's this? Carl is heading back into the pit lane.
Oh, did he
He
get a
must have got
penalty?
a speeding. He must have got a speeding or something. He's heading back into pit lane again. Maybe he didn't get enough fuel. I don't know. He's back in there.
I don't know. Well, you can see here Gherkin coming off of pit road. He's going to slide right in front of this group who's got a full head of steam going into turn 1. Whoa.
Oh, he's going to get past. He's going to get past. I can pass him on this next piece. Come on, boys. Let's have some fun here.
Mike Bauer's working his way around.
Laps are ticking down. I mean, we haven't got that much time left now.
No, absolutely not. So I'm going to take the pit stops
10 minutes to go. Dronky is now coming out of the pits. That was a long pit stop. Wow.
Because usually if you speed on entry, maybe he must have sped on. Oh, I can talk. He must have sped on exit then, right? Because if you speed on entry, they'll hold you there.
Or he could have crossed the line.
Or headed unsafe. Yeah.
Yeah, unsafe exit.
That's fair.
It's hard to speed on exit. But
well, that's true.
you never. You think,
true.
right? Yoo-hoo! So
It
Scott
didn't look like his
is
last
now up
pit
in
stop was
P8.
not that much different.
Whoa! I'm sure there's a bit of argy-bargy going on right there, with Wright getting into the back of Dancy. Sorry, with Demur getting into the back of De Guacamo. They were all over the place.
All right.
They are
Well, this is the last corner here. Let's see if Dancy and Wright finally decide to try Uncle and go in. Yep, there you
they
go.
must. They must, yeah.
So,
well, we'll see. Yep,
got your track map
there they go.
Giacomo et al. Are coming down through Canada Corner there. So let's keep an eye on where these guys are gonna. Oh, pit lane 2 camera. Man, see, this is we need Pim's cameras.
They're both in pit lane.
I am sorry, but
You need a split screen.
yeah, there you go. There's Gherkin, Demir. Who's
Well, the others are now passing pit entry and coming up over the hill underneath the NTT bridge as they approach the start-finish line.
Here goes Dancy.
Crossing it now. The others are at pit exit, but they're not going as fast as these guys are. As McLeod
man, that is
wide. And they pass Adam. Adam gets passed by all 4 of them.
Adam was
but
in the
Dancy manages to hold on in first place. And his gap is 1.2. If he can keep that gap, he has a good chance of keeping that position.
Adam came out in a horrible place where they just had a huge relative speed to him, and he probably would have caused an incident had he pushed that. So he almost had no choice but to let off. And yeah, to your point now, 1.2 seconds is the gap. These guys not giving each other any quarterback here though. So they're gonna make contact.
No, they wreck. I see. I think there was a little bit of net code or a touch, a little tag there, and unfortunately, Gherkin Demir got the worst of that one. Oh my gosh.
Woo. So that look at that 2.6 seconds now, the interval up to Dancy, and yeah, he.
Now these guys need to really work together. They need to stay in the train. They need to pass and pass and pass and leapfrog each other to drag themselves back up to close that 2.3 second gap, or he will just maintain it and walk away. And I found you need to be going into the final corner. You need to come out of the final corner less than 4 tenths behind the person in front of you if you want to pass them before the line.
Ray made an astute observation there. Adam, although had to drop to the back of that draft train, did really well to stay to the inside, and now leading that second pack there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Max is back up there. But anyway, get up there. Gain a couple positions.
The gap is down to 1.6, so they've closed that gap down a little bit. They've taken an almost just under a second off of it.
Yeah, they need to understand that there's still 5.5 minutes left in this race at least, and kind of settle down and just hit their marks and do what they need to do. Because, I mean, Joshua Dancy's a very fast driver. Don't get me wrong, but when you've got a pack that large of very fast drivers behind him, he's kind of a sitting duck.
He really is. I mean, he just did a 3.3 minutes 2 seconds, which is a lot slower than the people that are following. So that was probably because of his refueling. So let's see how he does on this lap in comparison.
I also want to point out here, Spencer Clark and David Pickram, I want to give them a shout out. They've been having a great back and forth battle, a little further back for 11th position, and of course, like I said, we try to the fight for the lead is super exciting, but I want to make sure that we're giving these guys their due, as well as Jonathan Dockery and Rusty Pottenberg go side by side down into turn 1. I mean, just to give you guys an example of what type of just absolute wheel-to-wheel racing happens throughout the field here. You can see just groups of drivers giving each other all sorts of hell.
And Berkheimer, Peter Lee, and George and Dallas.
Yeah. Rich Miller,
fighting away.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
Got Herrera just in front of them.
Anyway, back to the front here, because guess what? When we left him, it was 1.6 seconds, and now it's down to 0.7. So Joshua Dancy is seeing that group of skippies getting really large, looming large in the rearview mirror.
They'll soon be right on top of him as we tick down to 3.5 minutes to go, which is just over 2 laps, I think. So sort of 2 more laps, and now you've got to see the gap's down to 0.4. Now it's not here you want to be at 0.4, it's the last corner of the lap you want to be at 0.4 or less to be able to draft past the person in front of you and take the position from them on the line. So this is going to be really interesting with this pack so big. If they start fighting each other and you see the gap suddenly popped up to 0.9.
They're side by side. I mean, I get it. At some point, you got to go, but there's going to be.
Oh, he goes really wide. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That'll sort them out. That was a bit of a sphincter puckering moment. That gave Dancy a 1.4 second reprieve as he goes into. I don't see the white flag man flagging. Sorry, I don't see the flagman waving a white flag yet.
There may be 2 more because they've been running about 2.5 minute laps, and I think they crossed it with 1 more.
Probably 2 more. We've got 42.
Right, they crossed it before 42.5. So
as Mike Bowers goes really wide. Just missed his braking point there, I think.
He's lost all momentum, so he's going to get...
Yeah, gap's all the way down to... Now the gap's at 2 seconds.
Gosh, look at these guys going side by side. They are just... These guys are in the Joshua Dancy fan club. I don't know how... Oh, man! And, who is that? Michael McLeod, Gurkin Demir, Adam Wright. Yeah, that turn.
I think the fight is on for P2 now.
Yeah.
As they figure that they probably are not going to get P1. And of course, as soon as they start fighting, look at the gap jumping back up to almost 2 seconds.
Oh.
As McLeod jumps out in front.
Yeah, Gurkin went a little wide there as well.
McLeod goes very wide.
Yeah, so McLeod was able to work his way past all the ruckus back here, and he's kind of putting a little bit of a gap on there. Let's see if he can hold on to that, because I'll tell you what, if they keep battling for this 3rd position here, there's nothing to say that this isn't Michael McLeod's P2 to take home, because as we've seen with
It's
Joshua
starting to look that
Dancy,
way.
if they keep doing that, then holy cow, I don't understand. So anyway, we've got a Rusty Pottenberg fan. He is up 4 spots right now, sitting in P15 after a heartbreaker of a SF2 race. So I think he clearly, I don't know if he likes this track, but he does well. So I'm sure he can't wait to see this track over and over on the Skippy schedule.
And a big shout out to Allison, who's shouting out for Josh. Look at that, eh? She says she can't contain her excitement. I just hope that that Josh Holt contains his excitement and doesn't go too wide on any of these corners and run the car off the track and lose it right before the finish line, which would be very devastating.
I mean, the good news for Dancy right now is that he's got a nice clear track ahead of him. He doesn't have anything to worry about as within 6 seconds, man, this is like shades of Edwin Viorino.
White flag flies. This is the last lap, boys and girls. Last lap. Put your marbles on the table. Here we go. You just have to hold it together for one more run. One more round.
So this is the view from Mike Bauer's roll bar. As presumably we're racing for the final podium spot here in this third group, barring anything crazy happening.
Yeah, and you've got to, this is where you've got to start making moves. He's got so many people to pass. He's got to start making moves now. He cannot wait any longer. He does not have enough straightaways to not take advantage.
Touch. And this corner right here, Peter Nodwell sends it to the inside. He's not even going to make the corner. Let's see if that's going to let Adam, Max. I don't even know what happened.
He hits him.
Yeah, what happened to Gherkin's way off. Ooh.
Yeah, Nodwell smacked Gherkin, knocked him right off the track.
Yeah, that's...
As he loses all of those places.
Oh, look at him. He's driving sideways. He looks like one of the NASCAR Gen 4
Yeah, look how he's holding his steering wheel. He is going to be passed by everyone. If Scott's quick enough, Sarah, he can get another position up. Start yelling at him. Tell him that Demir is broken.
Yeah. Give him the...
as Scott does pass him. Scott's now up into 7th position. But it seems to have sorted out P1, P2, P3. Look at the gaps.
There you go. This is Adam Wright holding on to the final podium position right now, but he has company.
He really does. De Guacamo is all over the back of him. As De Guacamo pulls to the inside to see if he can sneak up there and take that position going into, what do you call it, Canada corner?
Canada corner. It's going to be the last of it. Joshua Dancy out
front. He takes it. De Guacamo pops himself into 3rd place, but can he keep it? If that gap is less than 0.4 or 4 tenths, then Adam can pass him again. As Dancy goes wide, and so does McLeod. That gap between McLeod and De Guacamo suddenly collapses down as Joshua Dancy comes through to take 1st place. De Guacamo takes 2nd.
Oh, what happened?
Right,
McLeod.
3rd. Bowers takes 4th. Nodwell 5th. McLeod 6th. Scott Bell in a well-deserved, well-worked, well-earned 7th. Steve Dewar in 8th. Ross in 9th. Clark in 10th. Dave Pickram. Dave Pickram passed Ross right on the line. Took that position from him. Pickram in 10th. Klingham in 11th. Ross in 12th. Demir in 13th. Droke in 14th. Pointenberg 15th.
I think we've got some drivers that have run out of petrol.
Running out of gas. Yeah. That's what it is. They've just run out of gas.
There's Rusty Pottenberg. We got Team Rusty in the house there. 15th position. Very nice job. Chris Daniel, Chris Ferrero across the line. Aaron Law trying to Flintstone it.
Yep. Shake that car. Wiggle that wheel. Oh my gosh. Paul is in 20th. Good gracious, man.
Oh, boy.
What a race.
There's just not enough time to unpack all of this.
That's just nuts, mate. That was a great race. So much fun. So much to watch. I really hope you guys watching it enjoyed yourselves.
Toughest part is just trying to... I mean, there's just so much going on. Great racing from everybody. There's Dan Pagowski coming across in 26th, up 5 spots. Rich Butler and Peter Lee. JR Hoops going across in 29th. Not the evening he was looking for, I'm sure. Involved in an incident. Jeff Torbeck, Kyle McCormick, Brian Perez, and Jake Ashe is already in the pits, and Alan Paris, I believe, is out. So, whew.
I know. I mean, who is right? Good Lord.
I don't even know where to start.
Mate.
Let's see. Waiting for the results to pop up here and become official, but there you go. You can see on the timing tower, at least. That's how they're going to end. I want to see what happened to Michael McLeod if he actually did run out of fuel there. The finish line.
Oh, it was something else. It really was.
Oh, yeah. You can hear. Oh, no. There goes Max. There goes Adam. There goes Mike. And there goes Peter right at the end there. Oh, heartbreaker for Michael McLeod going from second to sixth on that last straight. And it hurts so bad, especially because when you consider the fact that that's uphill. Like, there's no coasting it down to the end. It's you got to go up a big hill to make it to the finish line there. So it ain't happening.
Well,
all right. So there's your
shades of what was it? What was that race we did where everybody ran out of gas? Shades of Interlagos.
Oh yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
I managed to get a P3 out of that because everybody else ran out of petrol.
Well, congratulations to people who didn't, which includes Joshua Dancy, your race winner for this evening, Max DiGiacomo in second. Adam Wright's going to take home the last podium spot there in third. Great job to those guys. And then we will scroll through the rest while we see who is around to maybe answer some questions that we had. But I'll tell you what.
We can pull Josh in. Let's pull Josh in.
Oh, is Josh already in there?
Josh Dancy.
What's up, guys?
Dude, that was fun.
Yeah, that's you can call it that.
You were having a good day today, mate.
Hey, my I don't know the word to be friendly, but the the rear end was clutched all the way around that last lap. I was almost out of fuel the entire time. So if you watch back that last corner, I sputter really hard, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make it.
Well, is that so? We saw the gap close real quick there on the second or third to last lap, I think it was. Was that?
That was my headset dying. So
that was your headset dying.
Going down the straightaway, my headset, like the sound died, and so I had to reach over to the side, grab the, the plug and plug it back in. If you see, I almost hit the wall, going down the straightaway. So
you did, like you didn't have enough problems going on, enough challenges for the evening. Well, I'll tell you what, it must have been a sight for sore eyes to see them going side by side and battling so early for those positions. My take on that is that's what kind of allowed you to stay out front with a fuel. We had been talking a lot about how this was going to be very fuel centric, if you will. Like the fuel strategy was going to be huge. I think we knew that going into it. So people were going to be kind of really close. One extra lap here. I mean, it's not like other lap. It's not. This is a long track.
It's a long ass lap.
You can't really just kind of hope for the best. So, but what really impressed me was your ability to gain the positions there through the first two pit stops and come out in front. So, talk to us about how you pulled that off, because I'll tell you what, that was like, holy cow, what in the world happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went into the race with like a game strategy. Me and Leo kind of talked before the race, and we're kind of going over some fuel stuff. Our little shake and brake crew, we always talk about all that stuff before the race. I think we realized like maximum consumption was like 0.28 or something. We realized kind of, with draft, I could probably get it down to like 0.22. So I was saving, roughly half of a gallon. I don't know, like a tenth of a gallon or whatever that is. It's like 0.5 of a gallon a lap, basically. It's less than that, but that's basically what I was doing. So every lap I was knocking that much off of how much I'd have to take. So that last pit stop, I think every full gallon is a second. So I think I had to take like 0.3 less, 0.4 less than Adam going into that last pit stop, which basically put me out 2 seconds ahead of the pack, basically. I got kind of lucky they fought up front, though. Had they not fought up front and just took off, I wouldn't have been able to catch them.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that you don't really know for sure, but ultimately I'm sure it was a good thing either way. Like you can always put that in the bank, whether or not you could have held them off. I'm sure you probably could have, but either way, that's money in the bank as far as we're concerned. So, and I apologize. We're trying to show my logo here is covering the entire screen. I just want everybody to realize that I'm tracking on that. So we'll let Joshua talk about the pits a little bit more while I work on the visuals.
Well, Josh, you've got a bit more to talk about than just the race, right? You had other things happening today.
Yeah, I've had a pretty interesting day today. Being league admin now, it's
yeah, congratulations.
Big job, man. I mean, I think we've done such a great job the last couple seasons. You know, the little things we've added here and there have really added a lot to the league, and it isn't we love Jason, and obviously Jason is welcome back anytime he wants to come back. I mean, it's Jason built this, from just hard work of his. So basically, I'm kind of just hoping I can hold his baby and treat it well.
Yeah, man, we're really happy to have you. You came highly recommended from a lot of people, so kudos to you for just it just speaks to the mentality that you have, the way you treat other people, and we just really appreciate and respect that. And obviously your ability to win races is pretty good too, apparently, so it doesn't hurt. I don't know if that was extra motivation for today or this is what put you over the top, but yeah, man, we're really happy to have you on board. And it's always good either way to just bring in new ideas, and we're really looking forward to what you can kind of add and take us, Sunday Night Skippy to the next level.
Yeah, it's like a complete pleasure to be a part of anything in this league, much less just help run it. Back when I didn't have any role in the league, it was awesome just coming in every Sunday and racing. So I don't know. One thing I will say is I think I told you back at Suzuka, where it was my technical first win, right? I think I always said my win would always come on fuel strategy. So I'd like to say that one definitely played out exactly like I thought it would.
It's a desirable trait to have, man. I'm sure people are going to be knocking on your door asking you how you do it, because it's just one of those things that is not a part of the public races, right? Or no, it's really not. So it's a skill that you need to have going into this if you want to have any reasonable success, and it's a very difficult thing to get right. So for one, will be asking you how the heck you do it, because I just like to know. Do you use an app, or are you one of the more mental math guys?
We use JRT, but like a lot of it's just patience and getting really, really lucky. Had that front pack not fought when we were back, me and Adam, I think we're back like 3 seconds back from the front guy. Had they not been fighting up there, they could have been able to take off from us, right? Same thing with at the end, them fighting is what kind of left me out there. I mean, in the draft, you're way faster, right? So with them, if they would have worked together a little bit better, they would have caught me. But a lot of it is patience. In the beginning, it's letting guys by, drafting off of them, using, not trying to kill yourself every corner.
Absolutely.
Hey, look at that, Ian. We're smart. We mentioned those things. Holy cow.
We did. Now listen,
Thank you,
Chris,
for the
I'm going to remind you. You wanted us. We got some time constraints this evening.
That is true. I always.
I'm going to try and make Chris stop talking so much.
It's so tough because I really enjoyed talking to everybody, and I've been away for so long. And then I told Ian, "Hey, man, I've got an early morning tomorrow, so we got to keep this quick." Thinking I was gonna have to be yelling at Ian for doing exactly what I'm doing right now, but. We definitely wanted.
So I'm going to hold his feet to the fire.
You definitely gotta. We wanted to give you your time though, man, just because big awesome day for you, obviously with a win. well executed, and just wanted again to welcome you to the admin team, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, I just
Yep.
realized this. This is my first interview since becoming director. Also, I didn't do an interview last season. Probably should have. I did not realize
you
I didn't
go.
do an interview at
There
all.
you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
All right,
obviously
so-
appreciate everything you guys do. We'll go got some other stuff to do real quick. And,
Any shout outs?
obviously shout out Shake and Bake team, Steve, JR, Jeff, Barry, Leo. You know, I couldn't have done this without Leo having to drive through. So
Right.
There you go.
Awesome.
But thank you guys.
And
Alrighty, take care, mate.
And
Oh,
Allison.
go ahead. Oh yeah, gotta shout out Allison. Sorry.
Yeah, we even
Sorry,
gave
we gotta-
Alison her own shout out, so I don't know how you could be ignoring her.
Yeah, sorry. We got a new dog, so now she doesn't watch from behind me anymore because
Oh, gotcha.
he has a
yeah,
bedtime.
yeah.
So
That's good. That's smart
Yeah.
because I've heard a lot of stories about the new animals that don't really understand the whole iRacing concept and like to interrupt. So that's probably good to have a babysitter.
It's a constant want to sit on the lap thing, or he wants to go to bed. He doesn't want to just lay in here. So
Right.
All
But
right,
thank
well,
you guys
Alison,
so
if you're still listening, Alison, please give Scott a big slap at the back of his head and tell him sort himself out.
All right, man. We'll see you
There.
around. And
Yes,
congratulations once again.
thank you guys. Thank you.
Later, dude.
Later.
So we've got McLeod and DeGuacamo. Who do you want to talk to next?
Let's talk to Max.
All right. Max. Max?
Yeah.
Hey.
On. Woo.
Yeah, man. You had some I don't think there was a single lap of the race where we watched you where you weren't inches away from somebody else. How tired are you right now?
I seriously need a shower. Jesus. And I need to shave. I gotta wake up early tomorrow morning. And I am burnt. I'm burnt, man. I was just talking to Michael. He made me realize that I came from 0.6 to winning that race. I think Josh ran out of fuel also.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. Like
He
that's
did, he did.
we're talking about the fuel strategy there at the end, and just because of the length of the track and how important it was, and yeah, I clearly we saw Michael unfortunately cut the bad end of that stick, but yeah, man, you tried to put yourself in position. Talk to us through after the second pit stop. You know, 'cause with two pit stops, you kind of got to wait till after the second one to see how things shake out. Different people have different strategies. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But once you're there and now you're in that pack, trying to chase those guys down, was there any discussion over the audio, or were you guys just like, were you trying to catch Dancy, or how did that all work?
Yeah, through the middle of the race, I was trying to cooperate and let the guys slow back in, slow down to let them slow back in, not to lose too much time. But towards the end, it was just a knife fight. And yeah, that's it. And I just tried to I tried a different strategy this time, tried to get to the front all the time to avoid something happening in the back, you know? And yeah, that's it. So it was a crazy race. It was my best experience so far on iRacing.
Dang,
Good
man.
stuff, mate. Well, I'm glad to
High
hear
praise, yeah.
that.
Yeah, that, you know, this was the first week on Road America, like, so, or have you done this on other cars? What's your experience with Road America up to this point?
Yeah, I have. I've done it with a few other cars, but I don't particularly like this track. I don't like draft tracks, but I don't know. It does for some interesting racing. That last lap, I was checking it out. It's just crazy.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch. I gotta say, if nothing else, I'm sure there's gonna be some frustrated people tonight, and we'll see what the stewards all have to say. But from our perspective,
There's going to be some work for them tonight.
as viewers, you guys put on one hell of a show, so we really appreciate it, man. And it was a lot of fun seeing you battle up front all evening long. And P2, so I've seen you up front before, but I'm trying to think, what's your best finish in SNS?
I had a P2, if you don't remember, like maybe 2 seasons ago, but that
Okay.
was like, it was a gift on the last lap. Remember, it was like a massive crash. Josh,
Oh.
I think, Josh,
Okay.
Chris, and Decker were all into it. Like all
Was
3
that at
cars
Mid
crashed.
Ohio?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
something like that. And I just happened to finish second, so I was really happy. This time
Well,
it was
'cause
different, you know.
You're definitely one of those drivers where seeing you in second place is like, well, it doesn't shock me, but now I have to think like, oh boy, is he? Like, I don't know what the highest finish is, because you have good pace and you're a fast driver, but there's
Yeah, but
just been a lot of tightening of the field here in the past couple seasons, and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
and I get good pace on practices and stuff. But usually race pace, I tense up. I think I usually don't tend to get as good lap times as I do when in open practice when I'm more relaxed.
All
But
right.
it's getting better. No, it's getting better.
Yeah.
Practice is getting better. So I just want to say thank you very much, guys, for the broadcast. And I need to get to bed because I got to wake up early tomorrow. But I think I'm gonna have to watch the broadcast.
This is my favorite type of interview, because I gotta do the exact same thing. So we really appreciate it,
And so
Max.
do I.
Any shout outs you want to give before you leave?
Just to the boys in the league, man. Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
No worries, mate. Take care.
Take care.
All right, so that leaves us with Michael McLeod. Mr. McLeod, sir, how you doing?
Oop.
I'm doing pretty good, I guess. How about you guys over here?
Well, we enjoyed watching you race, and I'll tell you what, we had cut away. You'll see in the broadcast, or if you even want to watch it. I don't know if it hurts too much right now.
You know,
It
I
was
think
for-
it hurts.
It was for a while, but yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, well, wait, what? I'm looking for like accidents on my event log, like what the heck happened here? But yeah, that we had talked extensively, and not to beat a dead horse for the viewers, because this is the first time you're hearing it, not the first time they're hearing it, but we had talked extensively about how fuel strategy is so important here. It's a long track. You can't just kind of you got to be a little more precise than just kind of winging it, because it's a long track. So if you're down by a little bit, there ain't no way you're making it, especially when the finish line is uphill past that last corner. So clearly it didn't work out quite as well for you, but still, all that being said, man, before if we can talk about fuel strategy and run out of fuel and all that, P6 still not bad. I mean, right? That's
Yeah, I guess I'm happy enough I was able to just get P6. It's still not that top 5 I was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Well, then you can blame Peter Nodwell for that, really, because he was the last one that passed you there right at the line.
Yeah.
So, but
Oh,
that's
yeah,
still
I
pretty good. I think there's a lot of people who would give a lot to run out of fuel and still finish in sixth spot. So a little bit of perspective goes a long way. But gosh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened is a few laps prior, there was a little incident there with Max and Gherkin, and they were my draft to because I had it calculated perfectly, so I'd run out of fuel just after that line. But as soon as I
Hmm.
lost that draft, ooh, I was done.
You
I
knew
was
you were in
cooked.
trouble. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's, we were kind of talking about after that second pit stop, everybody had kind of cycled through. And when Dancy had taken such a strong commanding lead, it seemed there didn't seem to be any working together to go try to catch him. There was still a lot of battling going on. And then you went clear, which to me was like, oh, great. It looks like we've got a first and a second, and then a battle for third. But yeah, clearly it was not taking into account the fact that you had lost your your stamp to the finish line there.
Yeah, and then I also stupidly took tires on the. I had new front tires after that pit stop.
Oh well.
Okay. That's different.
I forgot to clear the tires, so my front end of the car lifts up, and I was like, what's
That-
happening here?
That's a sinking feeling in the pit of your
It
stomach
is.
when that
It
happens.
is. It
Yeah.
is. So is. And then you go
Oh,
out and you're trying to drive, and your back tires are nice and sticky, and your front tires are just not doing anything except sitting there being black, stupid, cold rubber.
just dull. And I was like, what is happening? So then obviously the guys caught me, and it's like, oh, okay, this is how it's gonna go now. Yeah, and then Dancy ran out of fuel, and so if I didn't run out of fuel, I could have won. And that's hurts even
Yeah,
more.
well. So
Yeah.
how you ran out for fuel, like just yards from the line? Did you start sputtering on that last lap?
No, just at that very last turn.
Oh man. Heartbreak Hill.
That very
Heartbreak Hill.
last turn, just as I start braking and then hit the gas to come out. Oh, yep, there's the sputter.
Oh, so annoying. So annoying.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Well,
That's
Mike, I'm so sorry that you didn't do better than you did, but you did give us a lot of fun watching you because it was quite an entertaining race to watch and quite an entertaining race to call.
and then,
I think you'll find that it would give you a lot of fun to watch it back.
and then when me and Gherkin at the while there had P1 and 2 because there's now teams this season. So me and Gherkin are on a team. We're actually trying to draft swap with each other to break ourselves away from the pack behind, which unfortunately didn't work, but we tried.
Right.
Well, we were talking about that. That's easier said than done. I mean, the theory is sound, but execution is sometimes, the percentages are a little bit less. But yeah, man. Well, hey, we got to get. I've already mentioned to the other folks we're trying to keep it just a little bit shorter today because I got a early morning tomorrow. But just wanted to make sure that we got a chance to talk to you and send our condolences, but also our congratulations for a finish, a really nice finish overall. All things considered. So
Yeah, thanks, guys. I can't wait to watch this broadcast.
I think you'll enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
And that was all of our interviews.
Indeed. Well, Ian, that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we got to do this tonight. Big shout out to Pim, who couldn't be here. Just want to say hi to everybody who's watching. Steve Dewar's just checking in. Man, you're in for a treat of a broadcast.
Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it.
Not because of us. the race spoke for itself. It's a lot of fun.
What was that you were saying about Steve being a blue faced something?
I guess you're just gonna have to tune in to find out.
You'll have to listen and see if you can find where you were sort of commenting on his lineage. I think it was.
Oh boy, here we go. Anyway, well, Ian, this was fun, and I guess real quick, we did have a quick 30-second discussion today. It is October, and we did promise a podcast in October. I'm thinking that's going to be doable. So we just so you guys know that this is the very beginning planning stages, and we will try to put something together. The progress we've made is we said, hey, it's October. We promised we'd do it in October, and our schedules are looking pretty good for it. So,
we've got.
No promises. No, I want to set expectations, but at the same time, most of the stuff, like I said before, most of the stuff that I have had to do at work is behind me. So, I'm looking forward to being able to chat with you at length when we don't have early mornings.
There you go. Well, we'll have to do it in an afternoon or something like that, and see what we can pull together.
Maybe I get a glass of what do you have? What was it, Bordeaux or something?
Bordeaux, actually, it was very, very pleasant.
Very nice.
A little Bordeaux, a bit of cheese, some crackers, and I was happily munching on those while I was trying to commentate, which is why I was probably swinging a bit like this.
Well, that's what I was gonna say to Max. He says he's getting a little tense. Yeah, a nice Bordeaux, or maybe a bourbon, something like that. Might help you relax a little bit.
Or Bordeaux that was aged in bourbon barrels. How about that?
Right. All right. Well, any final thoughts there, buddy? Good. Yeah.
I've got no shout outs to anyone, mate. I think that's not true. I think it is so nice to see some interaction coming from the chat stream. Lovely to see Sarah and Ray and Kim and Mike and Allison. Big shout out to Allison. I hope she goes and gives him a good slap on the back of his head. But anyway, there you go. And who else? Liz. Who's Rogarang 3R? No idea who that is. Anyway, Rogarang 3R, whoever you are. And Sarah Bell, good to see you guys in there. I love having feedback from folks. It makes such a difference. It really does.
Yeah, we like we get some good insights or ideas and or questions. So we try to keep an eye on that. And
then we can pretend like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, Yeah.
And pontificate. Yeah, exactly.
It's
All
how I
right,
live
look,
my
you
life.
know what? We're going to start doing the same stuff we usually do, which is talk for another hour,
Yep.
which we both said we can't do because we both
We're
got to
not
get
gonna
up in
do
the
it's
morning.
10:30. I gotta go to bed.
Good
Hope
night.
everybody has a good rest of their week and takes care of themselves, take care of each other. And we will see you next Sunday night from Road Atlanta, I believe. So that should
Road
be a good one too.
Atlanta.
That's one of our favorites, one of my favorites. So we'll see you
Yeah.
then. Take care and peace out.
Peace out.